Huida also continued to hold YEONWO. He pulled YEONWO's hand.
Then YEONWO said, Huida, can you let go of my hand? Do you know how many people are waiting outside right now? YEONWO is very anxious.
Then Huida said, Sareem will not make such a mistake. He knows I'm here, and he let that young lady in on purpose.
Then YEONWO said, if it's Sareem, then.
If we go out like this, it will arouse suspicion from others, said Huida.
Then YEONWO answered, then.
Then Huida said, since it's come to this, how about we warm up first, before we leave?
Of course, it's up to you, YEONWO said. Then YEONWO fell silent.
Then Huida said, you're right, we should be careful not to do anything that might make others suspicious. No matter how big the contractual relationship is, if we're supposed to be a couple.
Then YEONWO started to put his feet into the water.
We should be able to do things like going into the same bathroom together, Huida said.
Then YEONWO sat in the water with Huida. YEONWO also looked at Huida. She kept his eyes on Huida.
Huida closed her eyes. He held his head. Then he opened her eyes. She looked at YEONWO, who was soaking in the water.
YEONWO was silent. Then YEONWO said in his heart, I think she's as delicate as a woman.
Suddenly, why are you looking at me like that? Huida said.
What? YEONWO was surprised.
I'm usually not very sensitive to other people's gazes, but if you look at me like that, even I would feel embarrassed, Huida said.
Then YEONWO felt bad. And YEONWO turned his body backwards, sorry.
Then Huida replied, no, don't apologize. It's all my fault, so what can I do?
YEONWO was surprised.
Then Huida said, when someone as beautiful as you is in front of me, it's hard to look away.
YEONWO also looked at Huida.
Ahem. Anyway, what I want to say is, that's just it. I don't want you to feel regret, Huida said.
YEONWO also looked at Huida and could only be silent with what Huida had said. Then YEONWO pondered and said, I'm weird, right? There must be a lot of suspicious things in me.
Then Huida said, of course, there are many things that make me curious. But I don't want to make you suffer because of that. So I'll wait. Until you want to talk first. Until you don't have that expression on your face.
Then YEONWO said, when you were so nice to me, I'll keep waiting to tell you who I am. What kind of life I live.
Then Huida said, and I became curious. About you, what you're thinking.
YEONWO smiled and said, Huida, thank you. With sincerity. They looked at each other. Their conversation passed.
There is a cup of drink on the table, precisely in a large craftsmanship. Then the drink was taken. Seen from the water a red-haired man. And that's the Hyojo. YEONWO, said Hyojo while smiling. He held the drink and looked up at the night sky while picturing YEONWO. Chai YEONWO, said Hyojo.
Then in a different place.
Sareem was seen with YEONWO. Miss, let me fix your clothes.
Yes, said YEONWO.
When Sareem adjusted YEONWO's clothes, she was very surprised. Miss, there's a bruise near your shoulder blade. Was it originally there?
What? YEONWO was shocked and said, no, it's not like that. Then YEONWO imagined the events of that night, when he met with Hyojo. It must be a bruise from long ago. I must have accidentally bumped into something, YEONWO said. Then he said, whatever Sareem, I have a question.
Don't hesitate to ask, said Sareem.
Then YEONWO said, I will only teach instruments. Do I have to dress like this?
And Sareem replied, of course. Between men and women, especially between lovers, who knows what will happen? You will thank me later when the time comes.
Well, see, said YEONWO as he walked away from Sareem. Instantly, YEONWO was silent and remembered Huida's words at that time, when he was with Huida. Then he and Huida sat together that night.
Then Huida said, "My lady, this may be a bit sudden, but can I ask you a favor?"
What is it? YEONWO said.
And Huida continued her conversation. "The untitled piece you played today, I can't get it out of my head. If that's okay with you, once you get used to life here, I'd like you to teach me that part. What do you think?"
YEONWO was silent and said in her heart, "I would like to know how Mr. Huida's performance will sound."
You can see Huida standing in front of the window.
"Mr. Huida, YEONWO is coming."
"The woman has arrived," said Huida.
YEONWO is very pretty in the dress.
Huida was silent looking at her.
Then YEONWO said in his heart, "Somehow, I can't look into her eyes." They also faced. Then YEONWO said, "There's no sheet music. Can you listen and follow one line after another?"
"I'll give it a try," said Huida.
Then YEONWO began to teach him. YEONWO started to play the gaegeum.
Huida also watched him.
YEONWO started to play it slowly. Then YEONWO looked at Huida.
Huida followed him little by little.
YEONWO continued to play it. Then he was surprised to see Huida.
Huida played it very well.
YEONWO smiled. YEONWO enjoys the strains of the gaegeum she plays.
So did Huida.
YEONWO continued to play it and Huida continued to follow him. They played together. Then YEONWO said, "Mr. Huida, you played very well."
Men have different natural strengths, so the sound will definitely be different from female musicians, said Huida.
Then YEONWO said, "But you're perfect."
Thank you, said Huida.
Then YEONWO said, "You have to be very sensitive. You have very good control." YEONWO smiled.
Then Huida smiled and said to herself, "What I was thinking during the lesson, while imagining YEONWO playing gaegeum earlier."
Then YEONWO was silent looking at Huida and said, "Mr. Huida, do you enjoy exercising regularly?"
Pardon, said Huida.
"This is an important question for playing an instrument," said YEONWO.
And Huida replied, "I understand." And Huida said, "For a moment, I thought you might be interested in me. I don't exercise regularly, but I do ride horses and practice archery when necessary. I also have a question. What do you like, my lady?"
YEONWO was silent. Then she looked at the window and answered, "The sky. I love looking at the blue sky."
Then Huida said, "The sky, huh? Actually, I want to give you a gift, that's why I asked, but it seems difficult now. Can you tell us about the surface?"
Then YEONWO smiled and said, "The surface world. Have you ever heard of snow?"
Huida smiled. This, Huida pointed at her cheek.
Likewise with YEONWO, "No, that's not it. It is snow falling from the sky. Falling from the sky like ashes here, but white and clean. Where I used to live, a lot of snow would fall in winter, turning the whole world white. I found a really beautiful scene."
Then Huida looked up at the sky and said, "Your description brings back memories. When I was young, I once surfaced. Just once, but..." Huida remembered herself at that time, when she was young. "That's when I saw snow for the first time."
Suddenly, YEONWO pushed Huida to the ground.
Then Huida said, "My lady."
And YEONWO asked, "Are you? Do you know how to get to the surface? Do you know how to get to higher ground?" YEONWO looks very upset with Huida. "If only I could get to Earth, I could get rid of this horrible relationship with Hyojo," YEONWO said. Then YEONWO imagined father, mother, and Seowoo, and continue to live happily with my family. YEONWO shed tears.
Then Huida looked at YEONWO. Huida couldn't bear to see YEONWO cry. Then she put her hand on YEONWO's cheek and said, Please calm down. It's true that I went to a higher place, but I was very young at the time, so I don't remember anything about it. And even so, my guardian spirit went berserk because I was dragged away by force, Huida said.
YEONWO was very disappointed to hear that.
Sorry, but it's hard for me to give you the answer you want, Huida said.
Then YEONWO said, no, it's okay, I should apologize. YEONWO turned his face away from Huida.
Then Huida asked, do you miss her a lot? But that place. Isn't that your ex-husband's place?
Then YEONWO replied, even so, I miss the higher ground. That's where I live. And up there I'll be able to see the clear sky again, you know what?
And YEONWO said, I understand. It seems like I'm asking a complicated question. I apologize for my rudeness.
No, you don't. It's okay, I'm totally fine. Just now, I was the first to be rude. Also, you only worry about me. Right? YEONWO said.
Then Huida said, yes, you're right. Indeed, there's something I should ask you.
Yes, said YEONWO.
Then Huida said, at night you can't go out without me. Nights in the underworld are very different from those on the surface. When people die, the souls of the dead go to the afterlife at night. In the afterlife, the soul of the soul, punished for the sins committed in their previous life. And know this, to avoid punishment. There are times when souls stray from their path. The souls of lost souls, they often harm the living.
YEONWO was silent.
This is the reason why there are beings responsible for bringing the souls of the dead to the afterlife, which is called the Reaper, said Huida.
Then YEONWO said in his heart, it would be strange for me to know all this anyway, so I'll agree with him. And YEONWO replied, yes, I will do as you say.
Then Huida told YEONWO, and one more thing. It turns out you can visit your family today. Their lodging problem has been resolved. It's been a long time since you've been able to eat with your family.
Then YEONWO was very happy and said, I'm very grateful to Mr. Huida. I'm very, very grateful.
Then Huida said, much better hearing.
Sorry, said YEONWO.
While looking at YEONWO, Huida said, when you say thank you, come forward, instead of apologizing. Say thank you like you did today.
YEONWO smiled. Okay, I'll do it, said YEONWO. The day passed, there was a crowd in an inn building. Then YEONWO said, Sareem, will you be okay if we don't go together? You might have to wait here for a while.
I'll be fine, milady, said Sareem. Then Sareem said, you will see them for the first time in person on that day, you know? You should spend quality time with your family.
Thank you, Sareem, said YEONWO.
Go inside quickly, milady. I'll do some business here in the meantime, said Sareem.
And YEONWO replied, okay, I'll be right back, so just wait a bit. YEONWO also held the door.
From inside it looks like it's YEONWO. Who is it? Then YEONWO came in, and YEONWO was very surprised to see YEONWO.
YEONWO, how are you? Said YEONWO.
Wow, Annie, what is all this? You must be very successful, Annie. Mum, Dad, come quickly. Annie is here. YEONWO is very happy to see YEONWO.
Then his father came over. What? YEONWO is here.
It's been a long time, Dad, said YEONWO.
That's right, YEONWO, said his father, who didn't expect to see YEONWO. Do you know how much I was worried about you?
Then YEONWO said, I apologize for making you worry. But as you can see, I have done well, so please don't worry too much.
Then Mum came out. Why YEONWO, are you here?
And YEONWO replied, yes, are you all right? Mum,